live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live from the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and our top story tonight comes out of Midland, where one person has died and another is in custody after a shooting in the middle of a neighborhood. You're looking now at the scene. This is near the 6700 block of Rio Bravo. The city says that officers were called for a disturbance of weapons, and that's where they found that multiple rounds were fired, killing one person. No other details are available at this time, but stick with CBS7 on air and online as we continue to follow this developing story. Continuing to track crime, an Odessa high school student was arrested this morning after a concerned parent called 911 saying the student had what appeared to be a gun. According to ECISD, the 9th grader ran from police when he was approached. Officials say the student did not have a gun, but they did have a BB rifle in the trunk of the car. The student is being charged with evading arrest. In-depth story for you now. The Railroad Commission has made a formal complaint to the Federal Aviation Administration over Sarah Stogner's drone use. You may remember that the Crane County abandoned well blowout that made headlines late last year. Many featured Stogner's drone photos taken during a temporary flight restriction. The complaint alleges that Stogner flew the drone over the site of the blowout in Crane County in mid-December as part of their initial request for a temporary flight restriction. Then on January 18th, after a restriction found the area was in place. Stogner wrote on social media and in a Houston Chronicle article that she was in fact violating the restriction, and she doesn't regret doing it. That's because Texans deserve to know what was happening.
To document what's happening, because it's really the only way in some of these remote locations when they keep you off of the site, it's the only way to see what's happening and to document what's happening.
At risk is Stogner's pilot's license and thousands of dollars in fines. In a statement to CBS7, the Railroad Commission said, quote, "The Commission feels it is appropriate to report such willful violations of federal flight restrictions to the FAA by a person who is not only an attorney, but also an FAA licensed pilot." Now, if the FAA decides to investigate, Stogner will fight the complaint and may countersue. If the FAA prosecutes her, she said she will appeal. And if that all fails, she will respect the rule of law. CBS7 will continue to keep you updated as this develops. And the city of Odessa is still looking for solutions to fix its aging infrastructure. Now they're looking to work with the Odessa Development Corporation and use part of its sales tax funds to obtain revenue bonds. A revenue bond would require the ODC to go out and pledge future tax receipts to pay the interest and the principal of the bond. The city faces issues with its water treatment plant, pipelines, and more, but it lacks the resources to fix them. Out of the $80 million available to further the economic development in the city of Odessa, $20 million of that fund is already committed, according to the ODC, and the city wants to use the remaining funds to fix some of those issues.
Going through the ODC and the sales tax gives the ability to be able to address a critical need and do it without affecting and going out and issuing certificates of obligation or going to a bond issuance.
Under the Development Corporation Act, there are restrictions that don't allow an economic development mechanism to directly fund the city's projects. But anything deemed necessary can be voted on by a board of directors, and Councilmember Stephen Thompson says all of this is legal, according to the ODC's lawyer.
There's ways to get things done, and we don't need to be, sitting there always talking about making sure it's legal. It's legal. I've got bond counsel's opinion, I've got ODC's, a lawyer's opinion, and they're both the same.
Councilmember Thompson says that the ODC doesn't have any major obligations at the moment and that the city doesn't plan to take all of its sales tax funds. The city and the ODC says they do want to work together, and Mayor Hoven says an agreement could come soon. We'll, of course, continue to keep you updated. We're going to take a pause now and talk your weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller. Tom, it was actually kind of a nice day out today. Or is it going to remain that way, or is it going to get a little warmer?
Yeah, we're going to see a continuation of it as another weak cool front's moving down across the area. Let's take a look at those high temperatures today. You were right. Lauren, as we saw a nice day, again, that 98 in Midland, I believe that was off a little bit on the temperatures. We usually about 92 is what we saw this afternoon across West Texas. Now, did get up to 98 in Fort Stockton, 103 in the Dryden area, and 100 in Presidio. We have cooled off a little bit. Very pleasant out there, 85 out of the Miller National Air and Spaceport, 77 in Marfa. As we are seeing those winds calm down quite a bit, starting to come around to the south across the areas. That weak dry line moves back to the northwest. Still some gusts behind the dry line, up to 28 miles an hour in the Dryden area. And overnight tonight, we're expecting mild conditions, lower 70s on the way. Does look like we are going to see a bit of a change in our forecast with the temperatures starting tomorrow, but then hot and dry stuff for the Memorial Day weekend. We'll talk more about that here in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Tom. We're talking some public safety news now. The city of Midland has officially named its interim police chief. His name is Greg Snow. Snow is a 25-year-old veteran of the Midland Police Force. And according to the city, Snow is currently working as a deputy chief and received Supervisor of the Year awards in 2012 and 2015. He will carry out all of the roles and duties of chief while the city conducts a national search for a new permanent police chief. Today is the last day of work for Chief Seth Herman, who is leaving to serve as the new police chief in Lubbock. And it's graduation season, which means it's time for graduation parties. And while it's great to celebrate, the city of Odessa is urging students to celebrate safely with Operation Graduation. Operation Graduation is a combined effort by the Odessa Police Department, Crime Stoppers, and ECISD to combat underage drinking on graduation weekend. This year's Operation Graduation will run from May 22nd to May 26th. Community officials say the best way to prevent underage drinking is to educate children about the dangers of it.
It goes back to the home and parental involvement. Start talking to your children. It is never too early to talk prevention.
If you become aware of any underage drinking or know of any underage parties, Crime Stoppers is offering cash rewards for anyone who reports them. You can just call 333-TIPS. Some education news for you now. Out of over 2,500 applicants, less than 20 are accepted. Trinity senior Hans Maritzum was one of them. Despite knowing that acting isn't the most stable career path and having just only 2 years of experience, Hans applied to USC's Acting for Stage and Screen program with the help of a new teacher at Trinity. This was his reaction to hearing the news.
I opened my computer, I prayed again, and then I was like, and I clicked it, and then the confetti, and I jumped out of the chair fell over, and Mom, they were taking a nap, but I just, and they ran out, and I just picked up my mom, and it was awesome, and I called my brother, called my sister, and we just all yelled, and it was amazing.
Hans is aiming to pursue a career in Hollywood and focus on film acting, but he will, of course, always have a deep love for where it all started, in musical theater. Looking in the community now, summer is just around the corner, which means it's time to beat that Texas heat and jump in a pool. Luckily, the city of Odessa is home to 3 community pools and 2 splash pads, so you've got some options. While there is a nationwide shortage of lifeguards, there are no shortages for any pools in Odessa. That's thanks to a partnership created between the city of Odessa and the YMCA. And pool technicians have spent the last few months making sure that all of the pools are ready to go for Memorial Day weekend.
For the last couple months, we've had a crew that has worked tirelessly at the pools. We've done everything from painting to working on pipes, valves, and pumps. Super proud of the guys. They have worked all day, every day to get the pools ready for everybody here in Odessa.
For a full list of details on community pools opening this weekend, you can visit our website at CBS7.com. And today is the annual Permian Basin Gives fundraising campaign, a one-day event encouraging area residents to create meaningful impact through the nonprofits that serve the community. You're looking now at the live donation tracker, and as you can see, there's still a ways to go to reach their goal. But good news, there's still time to give. You can do so by visiting www.permianbasingives.org. And still ahead, after storms ripped through Texas last week, thousands are still without power. We've got those latest details up next. Across Texas, nearly 200,000 people in and around Houston are still without power. This comes days after a ferocious storm that packed powerful winds, toppled trees, and power lines. The utility company in the region is working to get the lights back on, but in the meantime, community members are trying to keep their spirits up as temperatures soar into the 90s while they wait for relief. Nick Notario has more details.
For some Fifth Ward neighbors, this church truly answered their prayers.
I really want to pour it all over me. That's how I feel.
Cornelia was thankful to get the water because she hasn't had power in 4 days. CenterPoint Energy maps show her community may not get it back until Wednesday.
I feel like you in the oven. It's better to be outside. That's why we outside right now.
The heat, even New Direction Community Church volunteers are dealing with as they pass out food and water. The building has no power. Using a gauge with a humidity reader, it showed the feels-like temperature inside parts of the church was nearly 110 degrees.
That's hot, but what I think about is the people that's dealing with this day in and day out.
As neighbors deal with the danger of no power, they're taking steps to eliminate some when it returns.
Unplugged everything because I don't want it to be a fire.
That's something Houston firefighters believe didn't happen in this complex in Spring Branch. They say when the power went out, someone left an appliance running. When the power came back, the appliance started a fire.
Make sure they're off so when the power does come back on, it prevents a situation like this from occurring.
Even if you didn't lose power, hurricane season is days away. Consumer Reports says there are things you can do to deal with an extended outage. You may not be able to charge your phone. Make sure you write down important numbers and addresses. You may also want a cooler because food in the fridge may spoil in hours. Know that it may also be on you to get the power to come back on. If you have a weatherhead and it gets damaged, CenterPoint says you need to have an electrician fix it, a problem the church handing out food is dealing with.
At this point, we really don't know. We really don't know. We just going to continue to do what we do here in the community.
Faith that delivered in a big way.
You're thirsty.
As neighbors struggle with the heat and no power.
I don't know what we would do if these people wasn't here.
Prayers answered as neighbors wait for power to be restored.
Well, we are going to be looking at another decent day across the area temperature-wise, but it does look like warmer weather's ahead. We'll talk about that and how it's going to impact the Memorial Day weekend. Coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, let's take a look at those high temperatures once again. A bit of an improvement out there today. Now, the readings for Midland, I think that one's off a little bit. We topped out at 92 out at the Miller National Air and Spaceport and Odessa, 89 in Andrews this afternoon. It was a little hotter south and west of the Pecos River, especially along the Rio Grande. That's where we saw temperatures in the triple-digit territory a little bit earlier today. Beautiful sunset, some high clouds out there, and a nearly full moon. The flower moon arrives on Thursday. That's going to be the full moon for the month of May. As we're seeing current temperatures again, very pleasant out there. Good evening to get out for a walk, sit out on the back porch, something like that. Still hanging on to some triple digits along the Rio Grande, but a nice cool 77. That's the place to be in Marfa right now. High pressure has been causing all of this. It's really been drifting off to the east and southeast, and as it does, we've seen a couple more thunderstorms try to pop up along that dry line across portions of the heart of Texas, northeast Texas. We're kind of in between things. We got this trough of low pressure to our north, high pressure to the south, and that's going to swing a cool front through, it looks like, here over the next 24 hours. It's really going to help us out on temperatures. Storm's got as close about the Brownwood area and moving off to the east, a little supercell there, but back across West Texas area, we are looking at just some mid to high level clouds for this evening as that dry line is trying to push back to the west a little bit more. Temperatures across the state today, well, we did see plenty of hot readings. It's ridiculous down here in deep South Texas. Corpus Christi topped out at 92, but had a heat index value at one time of 117 degrees. That's what it felt like. And over towards Alice, 120 plus today. West Texas, not faring all that bad when you hear about heat like that. Futurecast showing most of the showers, thunder showers are going to stay off to our east here over the next 24 hours or so, as we're going to see everything tomorrow blow up over towards the big country. So quiet overnight, and then not as hot tomorrow. We'll pick up a northwest wind for a little while, help keeping things into the 90s, 80s across the northern Permian Basin and the parts of southeast New Mexico. But that hot, dry weather is on its way back. We'll be back for the Memorial Day weekend with rain chances staying out of our forecast for the time being.
Midland Legacy senior Sammy Seti-Adarma has made a name for herself on the golf course here in West Texas, but she's made an even bigger name for herself in her true passion, and that's sports photography. So let's hear from Sammy and find out what's next as she's ready to graduate and head off to college. Legacy senior Sammy Seti-Adarma is one of the best golfers in Midland. She discovered the sport on accident. Sammy was at a Top Golf when she was 12, and people around noticed, hey, she can really drive the ball.
We were like just hitting the ball, and I was making good contact. Like it wasn't bad at all, and then that's when it got serious.
So we came back here to Midland, and then a few weeks later, we took her to get the first lesson. The golf pro said like, oh yes, she did. She does have a natural swing.
Throughout her time playing golf, Sammy won various accolades and made lots of friendships over the years. But during her sophomore year at Midland Christian in the yearbook class, an opportunity came that helped shape her future.
I was in my Miss Weaver's yearbook class, and she's like, we need someone to take pictures of the football game. She's like, I have a camera, you go out there, you see if you like it, and we just need pictures of the first scrimmage. And I went out there and I loved it.
And with a little help from Dad, the photography grind continued for Sammy.
My dad had a camera, so I started using his.
When she told us, Mom and Dad, like, hey, I want to be photography, I want to learn and put more time on it, and then just been doing great until now.
Sammy transferred over to Legacy for her junior year. Once again looking to help the yearbook, an opportunity came to work on the football field.
And I got a media pass for yearbook, so I was just taking pictures with that pass, and all the players were like, next year we should hire her, we should hire her.
On her own time, Sammy took pictures during last year's Permian Basin All-Star Game. Her photos drew eyes from across West Texas.
I got more people to see, like, I'm not just doing it for like Lee and stuff, I'm just doing it for me to learn, you know what I mean? Like, learn to get better, and like, I just love being on the field and like capturing those moments.
The Legacy Football Booster Club asked Sammy to shoot photos during her senior year. And with the help and guidance of local photographer Nicole Butron, Sammy became a photographer for the Bible of Texas high school football, Dave Campbell's.
It was an honor, like, it's Dave Campbell's, like, it was just like a really good opportunity to learn from.
And off the field, the joys continued for Sammy in her senior year. She won Homecoming Queen, Miss LHS, and was on an issue of Inspiring Teens magazine. All great things for a proud father as he sees his daughter prepare for the next chapter of her life.
I'm excited to see her career, especially like, you know, she's gonna go to school, go to University of Oklahoma with the sports management, sports media major. So looking forward for her career there.
Sammy's mother is a University of Oklahoma alum. Even though Sammy hasn't started yet, she's already thinking ahead to potential opportunities on the football field.
Hopefully I can like try and get like an internship to do OU football, and like I'm just taking it step by step, but it just felt right, and I'm so excited. Nervous, yeah, but I'm super excited.
For Sammy and her father, the ultimate goal is to do sideline photography on the professional level.
That would be my dream, to see her on that level, you know. And she's been kind of like watching, following, like, you know, professional sport like NBA, NFL. I think she'll do great to do that. Yeah, her personality is gonna fit right on there. Yeah, looking forward for her to doing that. Yeah.
And as you heard, Sammy will follow in her mother's footsteps and will start attending the University of Oklahoma this fall. Here at CBS7, we wish her the best of luck in college and in her future career. Now that will do it for now in sports. More to come after the break.
All right, Tom, before we go, the Major League Soccer team, the Philadelphia Union, they had a pitch invader last week, and we might have seen this earlier, but his name was I forgot his name. He was a rogue raccoon that was racing through there, and he now has his own trading card for $9 each. You can go and buy a trading card for the raccoon that ran on the soccer field. He set a record for the most seconds spent on the field by a raccoon in Major League Soccer history. He's pretty fast there.
They'll sell anything.
They will. Thanks for joining us tonight for CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. We've got more news coming up tonight at 10.